exciting video, and check this out. This is actually the overflow of Backwater Dam, and I've not been here for years. Today for this adventure we're joined by Highlander, and we're out exploring a piece of land that we've never been to before on the videos. We've been to Backwater Dam a few times and often the water's flowing over here, but we've always been over this side and up other way, and today we thought we'll come up to this side here and we'll explore a piece of land that we've never been to before on the videos. But I thought, what better place to start than the incredible overflow. This dam was basically built in the 1960s and it was opened in 1969 by the Queen, so it's a cool place to explore. And it looks like there's a beach right around the edge of it because the water's quite low just now, and we always love going to an area in the land that we've never been to before because you never know what's around the corner. Before this place was built, there was actually farms or little remains of crofts and stuff that was fully submerged under the water, and I have actually documented that as well on previous videos when the water was so low. Super interesting to see. Check this out, folks. There's this cool little beach here, and look at that tower out in the middle of the water, and there's actually a water pipe goes from there all the way down. There's like a waterworks at Glen Reservoir, which we have seen in previous videos as well, but also there's a pipe from there that goes down and comes out at the bottom of the overflow. They often open one pipe to like scour the pipes, they call it. That clears all the debris and stuff away from the opening of the pipe, and then they open it down to Glen, I think, to back up the water supply for Angus and Dundee. That's basically what this dam here is made for. And just look at this landscape we're in. That's why I love coming for wee adventures and just seeing little corners of Scotland like this on a summer's day. It's literally like 20 degrees, probably like 21 degrees Celsius. Wow, what a scene. There is actually a house up here, and that would be such a cool place to live. There's other remains of stones and things, and that could have been old stuff before the dam was even here. A lot of it's been like washed and eroded by the water, but now and again you can kind of see the outline of something. That's what today's video is about. Let's have a look at some wee nuggets along the way on a summer's walk here in a paradise land. Check it out here, folks. There's this mad bit here with all these stones and big chunks of like concrete, and then up there there's like posts sticking out. So I'm not sure if it's been put in as a bit of a water break. Maybe if there's waves it actually eases the force against the shore before the overflow. It is interesting. Sometimes you hate to theorise or look at the history from different time periods to see like and think about when it was put in. But yeah, that could have been designed to break the flow, similar to the next embankment of stones you can see there. Check it out, folks. We've now come around the corner and just look at this view. Looking up where we were, and then look, this is the crazy view looking further up the glen. Highlanders getting in the stone skimmings. I've just gotten my new world record, the biggest stone I've ever skimmed. I just did it a minute ago, but I didn't hear the camera rolling, and we were just punching on road. I'm thinking the wind might be less round this corner, but look at this view. It's just mad seeing those hills in the distance. Like, we've actually explored abandoned cottages and stuff at the far hills there, and pretty much all this land. That's why it's so rare we've found a bit today that we've never been, because we've explored history at all sides but never this road. And it is mad, like you can see how deep it gets really quick right there. If you went in, it's super deep. So we're trying not to slip on these pebbles. It gets more soggy and dangerous the closer to the edge you get. But yeah, what a landscape. We're going to find a little spot up here somewhere to chill out on a summer's day, folks. It's just incredible in Scotland. You get the best of all conditions.
Well, it's clearly been road for that.
Oh, aye. Check that out, folks. Look at that. That's an ant right there, and that is mad. Like, see the range of wildlife we see on the channel. I've not seen anything like that though. It's proper shiny, pure black, and it's a big ant, and it's out probably foraging, looking for food out here like a lot of the other wild animals we see. Normally in these lands as well, you see the birds of prey. Over at the other side I can see folk camping. Shout out if you're up here camping at Backwater. And yeah, this beach here is just kind of like infinite and cool. There's just so much area to explore. sometimes when you see a pile of stones like that, you have to think, was that originally something that was up on the surface before obviously this got turned into a dam? Yeah, it's incredible. Some of the stones and boulders around these places, folks, check them out. Yeah. Look at this, there's one little find here. It's an old piece of glass. Maybe at one time part of something, who knows? Well, obviously it could have been somebody having a picnic. I think that's more likely than literally it being something for a house. I think a lot of this land was just like fields and wild hill, a bit like what you can see up there. I think it just kind of continued down into the valley. Some of the crofts was most likely pretty far gone, but there was actually families that had to move out of the land when the dam was built as well, so there was still current crofts of that era. Some of this stuff is most likely left behind from people camping and things on this beach. It's like they've maybe burnt a tyre or whatever. Yeah, there's almost like a square here of a building. Aye. Oh, this is so warm. See that sunshine? It's just incredible. That's what we love about Scotland, folks. You get the best of all weathers. Sometimes you just hate to go and find a little spot like this in the summer where it's not too overgrown. It's just a true paradise landscape of Scotland, and the water's pretty clear because you can see it disappearing down. You see how steep the land is. It gets deep really quick at this side. Check this out, folks. A live find on the video here. Look, a historical piece. It says made in England, and look, it's like an old electrical wire piece or whatever. It's like one of those things you see up on the pole. So I'm not sure if there was loads of stuff dumped here to make like an embankment at one time for the dam waters, or I'm not sure like how stuff like that ends up here, but it's interesting to see wee nuggets as we go. Check out, folks, a stone scan. Oh, that was a poor attempt, folks. Round, oh shit. Here we go, folks, round 2. Here's the big one. Whoa! That's the biggest stone skim, folks. You see it right here on the channel. Real action. Check it out, folks. Like halfway down this kind of beach section, look, we've got this old wall line, I believe. It doesn't look like much, but it's kind of a pile of stones. And I think there is stuff like that. Look at the way that stone's broken right there. Oh, look, there's loads of beasties fleeing and running about. Check it out, folks. There's a bit of loch driftwood here sitting on the shore, and that's probably been floating about for a good while. I reckon there is actually trees like this at the far end that fall in. Every year the embankment kind of gives way and stuff like this falls in. Check it out here, folks. Real history. Look, an old square nail. And just think that may have been on the surface back in the day, and it's dropped down to the level as the water erodes the shore. Because obviously these were fields and lands, and things went on before the days of the dam. And an old square nail like that, often they were the old ones made locally at like a blacksmith shop. 1800s and before it, they were rocking about with those types of things when they were building houses or anything out of wood. Yeah, it's mad when you keep your eye to the ground sometimes at a crazy beach like this. It's not only the sand here and the cool landscape, there's all the wee nuggets as well, and unusual pebbles and stones, things like that. It's like granite almost with a high quartz content. Look at that, folks. That stone there almost looks like it's been used for something, 'cause it's almost a perfect square. That is unusual. But then you do often get flukes like that in nature as well. It looks worn at the underside, but then if it's been floating about on the water, it's also hard to tell. There's just such a variety of rocks, stones and boulders, all different colours. Check it out, folks. I'm hoping to actually punch onto that tree up there where that shadow's cast at the corner. That's basically where we're heading. We're right around the corner now from the main dam, and I've got this other stone that I'm waiting to skim. This one's a little bit smaller than the last one, but the ground gets really soft and dangerous near the edge. Oh, it went all wonky after the first one. So on a previous video, folks, I actually documented at the other side where that green tree is in the distance, the old main road used to come down straight in to where the water is nowadays, but the modern main road goes obviously along that far side. But I was saying to Highlander it would be cool to document in this area where the main road used to come up here. Here, there's something up here. It's maybe a Backwater Dam related item. What is this, folks? But yeah, I was just thinking about the main road must come up this side of the dam as well. But look, there's like some kind of fence line leading down from this place. But I can see like a tap, a big metal tap here. What even is this place, folks? It's mad when you've never been somewhere, the things you find. Yeah, look at this, it's an old fishing boat winch. Look, there's a path comes in. Look at this thing here, it's an old winch. Hand cranked, but it's just got a string on it. Oh, and look, that must be the old boathouse. There's been a ramp going in. Wow. And then here's been the winch. That's been a cool old winch. It's maybe been taken from a proper fishery and then brought here. Because this looks like one of the original ones we've seen at the coast. What a spot this is though at the riverside, folks. Absolute paradise here. Look, there's bumblebees and stuff down here.
Even there's some firewood.
Loads of midges as well, just fleeing round me. Yeah, is that a memorial bench for somebody as well? And that must be the path that takes you up to that main kind of track. We're basically going the explorer's route down here at the water's edge. Let's punch on to the next cool spot on this video, folks. It's cool to see this and to document that wee winch. It's a historical winch. And look at that, that must have been a slipway for the boat back in the day. I reckon they have gone all the way up to there. But over the years, the ferocious waters of the Backwater Dam have carried them down, washed them away. What a spot this is here, eh? The whole area is just a paradise scene on a summer's day like this. There's not so much wind round here. Oh aye, a pipe coming out the ground. What's that been there, folks? So that means there's probably something there, whatever's up that direction roughly. That's how sometimes we read the land and discover things or discover historical nuggets. We go out and we see what we see, and often you can piece things together. It gives you an idea. That's probably an outlet or an overflow for things like this. Well, whatever could be up there. That's just an absolute sea of willow herb today. And this is like the peak summer conditions in Scotland, and it's like a jungle often when you try and go on an adventure. That's why a place like this is perfect today. Yeah, it's unusual how this outcrop as well is in the land. I wonder what it's been at a certain time. And the old road at the far side almost lines up with this area, and our goal was to kind of push to this corner here where the tree is, so that's cool. We're almost there. And the amount of little midges and flies flying around today, and flying in my eyes, one went in my mouth. I was coughing and I could hardly get it to come back out. It was just horror. But that's off in Scotland in the summertime. So I don't know if you saw the last video when we were at Braemar, but this is actually the same day. We've basically come down Glen Isa from Braemar, and it's one of the neighbouring glens that we actually saw on the sign when we were at Braemar and looking at the areas where things were. Yeah, I wonder if that's been a bit of a bench at one time. Must have been before that tree grew. Yeah, this is such a cool area here. I wonder what those piles of stones had been, because that is similar to what we saw back there. Yeah, that's like the top of the loch up around that corner. This is such a cool spot because it's out of that extreme sunshine. Check it out, folks. I don't know how well it comes out on the camera, but that's another one of those black ants. And I've not seen many like that because it's super shiny black and they're really big. But I think the bigger ones are like the worker ants, or the army ants as we used to call them, and they would go out further than the main nesting ants and explore the area. Yeah, at the other side of here I can literally see where the old main road used to come down the hill, and it must have come over here somewhere. The area we're in must not actually be far from the original road. Oh, there's a bird of prey kicking about, folks. And over the other side there was even like another school and things. Over the years I've documented a lot of those places. They're just faint remains often of original buildings, one of which was like a school, other ones like old cottages, and then there was some kind of old mill building as well up one of those glens on a previous video, folks. We've been all over the land. Today, this is just incredible. That breeze just picks up now and again. It's like air conditioning. So as you can see for that last clip there, folks, we actually started skimming some stones, and I just set the time lapse up as we did it. Now we're away to chill back where we were on this kind of rocks. We were actually away to sit here and relax, and then we started skimming stones, and now I'm totally knackered. My right arm has just skimmed probably like, I don't even know what, 50 stones probably, I would say. It'll be funny to see how the time lapse comes out. By this point in the video you've probably already seen it, which is super cool. Yeah, look at the landscape. I love the way the sun shines on certain hills and the shadows move their way along the landscape. Sometimes it really gives you an idea, the aspect of the distance, the high hills in the far glen, down to the shores of this crazy little beach that we find ourselves on today. And what a cool little adventure. There's a lot of good stones here for skimming. But yeah, I would say some of them were successful and others were a complete failure, but it's so much fun. Anyway, I'll update you once we're punching on away from this location. Check it out, folks, we're now leaving that paradise soon. We were chilling under that tree pretty much in the shade, because in the sunshine there's just so much heat today. But it's a fun little summertime walk coming up this area. We're going to do a wee circuit and actually go up that track that we noticed beside this old boathouse where that old winch is. I think we're going to head up the track and try and find our way to the wee road and make our way around. So it's a proper little circuit, a real adventure out here, seeing a bit of the land we've never been to on the channel. So here it is, folks, we're walking past this unique little point on the land, and this is our undiscovered path. There's so many midges here, look, little bundles of them flying around above the bushes. They love this sunny environment where it's kind of damp under the ground, and that's why you get big amounts, large amounts of them. Yeah, I'll update you when we see the next interesting little bit in the land here. Look, there's Backwater Dam. Look, there's somebody on a canoe at the far side. Or a rowboat. It's maybe the campers. Check it out, folks, we've just come up this path from the water's edge, and look, this track's actually decent leading up the side of here. And I was just theorising this could have been the actual old main road. I can see the windsock there's going in front of the lens. I do apologise about that in the footage today, folks. But yeah, I reckon this may have been part of the old road that used to cut across to the other side before the days of the water. And it's interesting to come up with those theories as we explore in the lands of Scotland. Yeah, it's cool to have this solid surface underfoot, because I had loads of sand in my trainers and stuff. We walked quite far up that beach. Yeah, and the sunshine today is just perfect. Scotland's amazing to have these wee adventures. There's so much always down these wee tracks. If it's not a historical wonder, it's often an incredible piece of landscape. Sometimes when it's like 21 degrees Celsius, it's amazing just to sit there in the shade and skim some rocks now and again. And wow, this path's got an amazing view. Like, there's been a sign there at a certain time. I'm not sure what they've been saying about this road. See these pink flowers, folks? I think in one of my last videos, I think a couple of videos ago, I called these lupins, but I have been told since they're actually foxgloves, so I needed to correct that. Yeah, I shouldn't be walking through the grass in case there's ticks. That's how we've been avoiding the long grass, but I wanted to correct that. And look at that, the thistle growing. we'll love to see it on most videos. We try and see the thistle along our adventures, the flower of Scotland, and it always marks the lands as we go past. We see it grow in so many places. Check it out, folks, we're still on this track heading back, and we're kind of going through this forest like landscape, and now and again the sun's shining through, and it is a true Scottish paradise. And yeah, once again, it is amazing to come into these little corners of Scotland and to be able to share them with people all over the world. I think I can see actually a gate up ahead, and that's maybe the private residence. We'll just like push on through and past on the track, because we always come with the greatest respect, like landowners. The cool thing here, folks, look, you can now see the tower out in the water and the main dam wall at the bottom of this hill. Yeah, what an amazing place that would be to live at the side of there, looking out your window over such an incredible landscape. So here we are, folks, in a beautiful scene. Down there is where I started the video, looking into the mad overflow, and it's crazy what they did back in the day. Now we've made it right back down the track here to where we've parked, and I'm going to end it here. Thanks so much for watching. It was so cool to hang out in an area of Scotland and explore an area that we've never seen on the channel. And yeah, I'm going to end it here. Thanks very much for watching. Goodbye from me, goodbye from Highlander, and we'll catch you very soon with the next adventure, wherever we end up going.